Hey guys, let's make a shampoo and body bar. My shampoo and body bar is almost the same as my regular bars of soap, but I've added some oils that are especially moisturizing to your hair. You can use any of my soaps as shampoo. My son does almost exclusively, but this one is just a little more conditioning. So, fun fact, it'll also be extra moisturizing for your skin. So here you see me adding my already made lye milk to my already melted oils. I went ahead and prepared that ahead of time for the video. So this is where the process is exactly the same. Really, the whole process is exactly the same. Carefully get all of that lye milk into your warm oil and then stick blend. I stick blend until we're at a very, very thin trace because I don't want to run out of time. If you over blend your soap batter, then you could easily run out of time to get fragrance added, to get colorants added, or if you're doing any intricate pours, you might not have time to get the design you were looking for. So you're going to see that my oils are just emulsified with the lye by the time I add mica colorants to the mix. Here I'm checking for trace. I'm seeing if the oil separates from the milk on my stick blender. It didn't, but it wasn't quite thick enough yet. Here I'm starting to see a change in my batter, so I'm going to go ahead and add my pre-measured fragrance oil for my shampoo bar, which is proprietary. And this looks pretty good. I'm happy with my trace. I'm happy with how it blended, so let's get rid of the blender. The next thing I'm going to do is pour just a tiny bit of the batter off. This is the little bit that gets colored and then poured on top of the loaf for some decoration, because it's gotta be pretty. This bar is always some flavor of pink. So I add just a little bit of whatever pink mica I have laying around handy to that tiny bit of batter that I poured off and mix it really well to make sure there are no big globs of color. Another thing I do with every batch of soap I make is make a little tiny sample bar. And anyone who orders from me by mail gets one of these in their package. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that off now and set it aside. Now it's time to pour the white batter into my loaf mold. Hopefully you've watched my other videos and have seen how I line my wooden mold. So I just go ahead and pour all the white batter in here, nice and slow. We don't want to make that paper jump around and then leak too much. Can't waste a single drop. When I'm done pouring, I'm going to tap my mold a little bit to make sure there are no air bubbles, and then come back with that pink soap that I made a minute ago and just very carefully pour it over one side of my soap. I don't want this to drop into the soap. I just want it to sit on top. So just very gently pouring, because remember, this soap is at a pretty thin trace. So if I wasn't gentle, it would drop into the soap. I was off camera a second, putting a little bit of pink soap on that sample bar I showed you a minute ago. So again, I scrape as much as I can out of the measuring cups because we don't want to waste a drop. Next, I'm going to come in with a toothpick and just make some quick little lines through here just to pretty up that top. Sometimes they look a little bit like a flamingo, but this time I'm just quickly dragging through because I am out of this in my store, so I need to get it restocked pretty quick. I think it's beautiful. So now we're just going to clean up a little bit and get it ready to pop into the refrigerator. This is cold processed soap, so I don't want this soap batter to go through gel. I want it to stay cold. So we'll clean up all my edges, make sure I don't have soap dripping off, and get it in the fridge. This soap will sit in the fridge for at least a day, and then I'll pull it out, let it warm back up and harden before I go through the process of cutting it into bars and letting it cure for 6 weeks. And yeah, all of my soaps cure for 6 weeks. Some people cut that time short, but I want to send out a pretty hard bar. Oh, there's that little sample bar I made. So here we are a couple days later. This is nice and hard, ready to unmold and get cut. Bye mold, and next I have to measure. I don't have a fancy pants soap cutter. I still cut every bar by hand. So here I am measuring 1-inch bars. So now that I have all of my 1-inch bars marked out with a notcher, I'm gonna get my scalloped edge cutter, here it is, and cut these into bars. This soap has always had the scalloped edge, so I try to stick to the originals. And there it is. This is going to be cut, and then it's ready to go into the curing room. Thank you so much for watching my video and learning how to make shampoo bars with me. Please subscribe to my channel and like my video.